Hello everyone and welcome to Machad's Shooting Bench. Today we have a couple of classic Smith Wesson revolvers to review, and these are both probably late 70s, early 80s models. This is the Smith Wesson Model 19 with the 4-inch barrel, and this is the Smith Wesson Model 66, which is the same frame size, but this one is stainless steel. It has a shorter 2.5-inch barrel, and this one has the 4-inch barrel, and this is blued steel. So as you can see, both of these are unloaded, no rounds in the chamber. So we'll close the cylinders up so you guys can get a sort of a better look at what they look like. Okay, so we'll start with the Model 19 because that's the older of the two. And then we'll go to the Model 66. So first off, this is the Model 19. It's a 4-inch barrel revolver. It holds 6 shots. These stocks are not the original stocks. This came with Pachmeyer presentation grips on it. I took those off. They're a little bit big for my hand, but this was my father's old service pistol from when he was a police officer. And he carried this for quite a few years until he switched to autos in the late 80s, early 90s. And this is just the classic police gun. People think of the Model 10 as the classic police gun, and it was for quite a while. But in the 60s and stuff, most police departments, if they weren't going with like the Colt Python or Colt 357 revolver, this is what they went with. The Model 19 is a K-frame revolver, which is Smith & Wesson's medium frame. You got the Model 60 is a J-frame, the smallest, and then you go up to the K, and then the L frame, which is like the Model 686, which was kind of introduced because of this gun. I'll get more to that later, but and then you've got the X frame, which is the huge 500 and 460 Smith & Wessons. So both these guns are K frames, and the Model 10 was also a K frame. A little bit about Smith & Wesson model numbers. When something like this is the Model 19, and clearly it's the blued steel version, but whenever a Smith & Wesson model number starts with a 6, that means it is stainless steel. So this is the Model 66. Meaning it's in stainless steel. Like in the L frame category, you have the Model 686, which is stainless steel, but you also have the Model 586, which looks exactly the same as the 686, except for it's blued steel. It's not stainless steel. So basically, the Model 66 was sort of the answer to having something shorter barrel. They are available in the 4-inch barrels as well, but they're also corrosion resistant, which is really good because when you're carrying a gun all day, you get sweat on it, you get water on it, moisture, and the blued steel guns can start to rust. I mean, there's every day they start to rust. That's not the case, but I mean, stainless steel will definitely prevent that rusting. So the Model 19, this one's older. Like I said, I replaced the stocks on it, but the Model 19 was sort of the product. Bill Jordan was asked by Smith & Wesson, what's the perfect police officer's gun? And Bill Jordan didn't really care for the 38 Special. He didn't really think it was powerful enough. The Model 10 was a great size gun to carry for cops, daily carry. However, the 38 Special was really as much as, you could chamber it in it, but at the time they didn't have the modern metallurgy that we do, and they were worried the 357 would be too small. So they did the Model 19, which is a little bit beefier. It's chambered for the 357 Magnum cartridge. It also has recessed chambers, this one does, which was something Smith & Wesson got rid of after a while, just because at this point in time it wasn't really necessary to have their recessed chambers. So they got rid of that as a cost-cutting measure, but as you can see right around there, the case heads of the cartridges would be enclosed because of the countersunk chambers. And you can see on the 66 it does not have those countersunk chambers like the 19 does, rather. So that was sort of a cost-cutting measure because the the countersunk chambers weren't really necessary. But so this gun was designed basically to be the ultimate police officer's weapon. When you moved up to something heavier like the Model 27 and the Model 28, those were on the N frame, which was the original frame that 357 came on. And those were just a little bit too big and heavy for daily carry. I mean, you carry a firearm for 8 hours a day, and that was just really too big and heavy for most officers to carry. So they did this gun, and this gun stood up really well to your standard 158 grain 38 special 357 Magnum loads rather. But one big issue was they found that when the police officers started practicing regularly with 125 grain 357 Magnum jacketed hollow points, those were really, really hot rounds, and it was flame cutting this top strap here, right near the forcing cone, as well as just, you know, putting a lot of stress on the guns. So that was one problem. So you really shouldn't feed these Model 19s a steady diet of really hot 125 grain ammo. If you stick with the 158 grain loads, you should be all set. But these are really a great handgun. This is the most accurate firearm I've ever owned in a handgun. One of my favorite guns. I love taking it out and shooting it. It's really controllable. Shoots really well. It's not too hard when you're shooting the real heavy 158 grain loads. And we'll just give you a close-up of the markings on the barrel. And then this side here. And as you can see, it's got a little holster wear on the front end there. I mean, it's from the early 80s, so the trigger on this has been worked on, so we'll double check, see it's unloaded. And it's got a really smooth double action pull. And then the single action pull is just barely touch it, and it's just awesome. Shoots great. So if you wanted to get something smaller and in stainless steel, you could do the Smith Wesson Model 66. Now this gun was introduced after they introduced the Model 60, which was Smith & Wesson's first stainless steel gun. The Model 60 was a J-frame stainless, and this was introduced sort of to give people the option, if they wanted to have a stainless steel gun, they could carry that. And this was purchased as my dad's off-duty piece in the mid-80s. It's kind of large. We would consider this kind of large nowadays as an off-duty piece, but this gun is dimensionally identical to the Model 19, aside from the stainless steel construction. Also, the Model 19 is a square butt, whereas this is a round butt. The square butt flares out quite a bit more on the bottom here. This is sort of rounded off. So the Model 66 is also chambered in 357 Magnum. It's got the red insert up top there. It's also got the adjustable sights, just like the Model 19. If you see a stainless steel gun that looks like this, that does not have the adjustable sights, it's known as the Model 65. The Model 66 was the one with the adjustable sights. But as you can see, you've got the 357 Magnum there. And this gun was made in the mid-80s, I believe, this particular piece. But yeah, this is essentially the Model 19 in stainless steel with a shorter barrel, and you, like I said, you can see there are no countersunk chambers, so that the chamber rims just sit on the outside of the back face of the cylinder, whereas on here they're completely enclosed and flush inside the cylinder. And if you can see right there, they have the model number is stamped on the inside of the yoke, 662. And they also had problems. They've changed it now, but in the early Model 66s, the metallurgy and the stainless steel, Smith & Wesson hadn't really had too much experience up to that point working with stainless steel and firearms. And the gas ring that was around here, right around where the cylinder meets up with the yoke here, under like a lot of fire with the heavy 357 Magnum loads, that gas ring would actually swell and would lock the cylinder up and immediately render your gun useless. So Smith & Wesson did some changes and took care of that problem, and now these are just great guns. This one does have quite a bit more recoil, just because, you know, shorter barrel, not as much to dampen muzzle flip, but still is not really that hard to shoot with full house 357 Magnum loads. Really not that hard. The trigger on this one, I'm assuming just because it's a little bit smaller, the geometry may be different, is much heavier. The single action pull's not as smooth, but this one has just an awesome trigger on it. But both very excellent guns, very classic firearms, and very accurate. And if you get a chance to pick one up, don't hesitate, because they're a great gun and they're a great value for the money, and they will last you as long as you take care of them. So thanks for watching, and hope to have another video for you soon.